Welcome to the Association 100. I'm Colin Gallagher, coming to you from ASAE's 2024 annual conference. I'm really excited today to talk with Carla Lacchiato, Director in the CSO Center for ASIS International. Carla, thanks so much for joining me today.
I am so glad to be here. It's a great conference.
It's been a lot of fun. We've seen so many great people, and it's fun seeing what all these different associations are up to. So it's really good.
Lots of learning and lots of connecting and lots of community, which is the name of the game here.
So. Absolutely. So I actually looked up a recent article you did in ASAE when we knew we were going to be interviewing you. So I want to chat about that a little bit. You highlighted the importance of personalization in onboarding new members. It made me laugh a bit because we talk on the PR side of things about this a lot. And it's that personalization isn't high first name. And that's
right. You're very right about that.
On that. So I'd love to hear any innovative practices or programs that you all have found and what's working well.
Yeah, so one of the things we started was a new member ambassador for all of our new members. Okay. So when we have new members, and we have a smaller organization, so this can be scaled, but this has been working for us with a smaller membership. But when we have new members come on, we assign them a buddy, if you will. But we call them a new member ambassador, so it sounds a little bit more formal and more, more legit than a buddy. But in all honesty, it's a current member that sort of takes an interest in this new member and reaches out to them. We have some drafted language that they can use as a starter, but we ask them to personalize it, to look up this person, to either look up their LinkedIn, or we give them some basic details. And we try to match people with something in common, either region or industry, or especially with females in security. There aren't as many, so I do try to match up women with women so they can feel welcome and ask them to find some way to engage with them on a personal level. And so it makes the person feel welcomed and engaged and comfortable because you join this organization and it's so many resources. And on emails, we all do this and we should. It's an email that says, welcome, here's the link to our main website, have at it. And which is great because they should have all of that information. But when you have a member reach out to you that says, I know this can be overwhelming and I know there's a lot of things to do, but here's something you should start with. And we tailor different messages. So we determine what we think should be the first step for them. But what it does is it gives them a peer that they can reach out to and say, hey, well, how have you benefited from the membership? How have you used it to your benefit? And how have you used it successfully? And they can then provide their own background of, hey, these benefits were the best for me, and this is the challenges that I was using them for. So it gives them someone who is from the member side to give them those answers. As staff, we can say what we think they want to know, or what we think they should know. But their member to member is going to make them feel much more comfortable and be more authentic because, they have that connection. And when they join one of our upcoming virtual programs, or they go to one of our annual meetings, or any of those other kinds of interactions, they can say, oh, let's meet up, or I know you. And if they see their name, they're going to feel, oh, at least I know one person in this room, right? Because you enter these conversations, and even on a virtual program, if you don't know anyone, you might be afraid to speak up. So that's been something that's been really great.
I love that. And it's funny because we had some on probably 2 years ago, and they said something I'll never forget is that no one tells a member story like a member.
Yes.
And so you're putting their peers, what you said, together.
Yeah. And then it goes back to our CAE too. The learning that we've gone on the CAE is member to member, staff to staff, board to board. And this is real member to member communication and connections. Yeah. And hopefully that person will then introduce them to new people and to other people. And it helps them build their network as well as their community. So it's been really successful for us. And when you get someone engaged from day one, they're much more likely to want to renew when that bill comes due in a year. If they stay engaged, it's easier to get them engaged when they first pay the dollars to join the organization and get excited about it and keep them engaged through the year. So when that renewal comes up, they're going to be like, well, if I don't pay this, I'm going to lose all of this connection and all of these people, all these resources that I've, built. I don't want to lose that. So I'm going to renew my membership. So
that's so
it's
smart.
Certainly been helpful for us.
That's really cool to hear. Switching gears a little. So I know I've heard you talk about the concept of structured flexibility.
Yes.
As this really great element for managing associations. How do you balance innovation with stability, especially within the CSO center during times of rapid change and disruption in the security sector?
It's an ever-changing wild ride. I do not know a lot about security. I'm learning something every day, especially in today's world with geopolitical change and risk and volatility, that I'm learning that our members are always changing. Their priorities are always changing, because one minute it could be cybersecurity issues. The next it could be an active shooter or an active assailant. The next it could be internal risk, which is like when someone is getting burnt out or maybe dangerous to themselves or their coworkers. Or it could just be
So much so I never even thought about.
yeah, or geopolitical issues, and they have people that work for them all over the globe. And if they have people that are in places of war or of conflict, they have to then address those. So I realize that some of our members can't always engage when we want them to, or even when they want to. So what we try to do is be flexible and try to provide a variety of different opportunities to learn, to engage, to find resources, to help them with those issues, as well as to engage with others that may have a lot more experience in an issue that they may have a little less experience in. So we try to provide the structure where they know that they can come and find what they need, but we try to do the flexibility where we're always trying to promote different things at different times. So depending upon their particular moment, they know exactly what they might be able to access. And again, we promote that community because no one knows the security industry better than their fellow CSOs. So,
then, I mean, talk about meeting the moment of what your members need.
yes. Yes. And I think as a person, as a professional, we have to have a little bit of structure and flexibility. Like if we're never flexible, we're never going to grow. We're never going to make, to be successful and grow our programs or reach those goals or reach those, those achievement points. Because if we stay the same, we're just going to stay the same.
Yeah.
But we also have to have that structure that we can always go back to. So if we try something new and take a risk, then if it works out, great, and we're growing. But if it doesn't, we can say, okay, you know what? We tried it.
Let's do
It
it.
didn't work. Let's pivot, but let's pivot back to what we know and then start again.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So when we talk about membership growth and value prop, those are obviously pretty big cornerstones of the World Associations, but also central to your role. So I'd love to hear about the strategies that you found was effective for demonstrating and delivering on that member value prop.
So again, with our members, they're always dealing with different issues. And one of the things that we did is instead of us trying to determine and create the content, we turned to them for the content that they know. So we started this twice monthly program where it's basically an online virtual roundtable where they talk to each other about issues they're facing. So we have a host that's one of our board members, and we have a moderator that may be an SME or an expert in that topic, or may just be a curious peer that really wants to know more about a topic. Sometimes we have a little slide presentation. Sometimes it's just a conversation. But we choose different topics every session. They're twice a month, so about 24 a year.
Wow.
And it gives us that flexibility.
Yes.
It gives us that flexibility to change the topic regularly, but it also provides the content, and it's not me creating it. I'm leveraging the resources we already have, which is our membership and their minds, their experiences, their perspectives. So we use what they know to ask questions and to dig deeper into those issues amongst their peers. And then sometimes that leads to a blog, or sometimes it leads to an article or a white paper or something else that's a little deeper. But we kind of scratch the surface a little bit, take a little deep dive and see what we can find. And oftentimes our members are talking to each other between those meetings because they're like, oh, you said that. Yes, exactly. You said such and such, and that's something that I'm dealing with. And they'll say, well, you said that. And and I need to, know a little bit more about that as well. So it's a nice give and take. And it doesn't require a whole lot more effort on the staff part because bandwidth is low, is tight, and, time is short. So we basically take a resource that exists and leverage that to provide value to the organization. And it is also then a value proposition to potential members to say, we have these resources, you have these opportunities to learn and grow.
That's great. I continue to be blown away by every conversation I have here. And this, all of these are amazing ideas that I think any of our listeners could put into practice and just see huge dividends. So I really appreciate you joining us on the 100 today and sharing your insights.
Thank you so much. I think it's really just about listening to your members, listening to what's going on, and finding ways that we can meet them where they are and not where we think they should be. So I think it's a great opportunity. And thank you for this opportunity to talk with you and to talk with the viewers about, some of the things that we're doing. So
Absolutely. So well said.